When I first moved into my new place, I was hopeful. It was a quiet neighborhood with friendly people, well-kept lawns, and that feeling of fresh starts. It didn't take long to meet the guy next door. At first, he was nice. A little awkward maybe. Mid-40s, lived alone. He introduced himself with a smile, brought over a small plant as a welcome gift. He said he was glad to finally have a neighbor again. I thought he was just being friendly. But then, the gifts didn't stop. It started with little things, cookies, candles, odd trinkets. Then he started leaving notes, handwritten messages, folded neatly and left on my doorstep. Things like, "Saw your lights on late last night. You okay?" Or, "You looked really beautiful today." I had never told him my name. I tried to be polite at first, but I made it clear I wasn't interested. I stopped answering the door, ignored the notes, but he didn't take the hint. One morning, I found something dead next to my car, a rabbit. Its body was twisted unnaturally. At first, I told myself maybe it had been hit or dragged by an animal. But the next week, it was a bird, then a cat. Always left in the exact same spot, right next to my driver's side door. I knew it was him. Then came the night that changed everything. I came home late, and as I pulled into the driveway, my headlights caught something. Him, standing in my yard, holding something. It was an axe. He didn't move, just stood there, staring, like he'd been waiting for me. I locked the car, called 911, and stayed inside until the police came. He was gone by the time they arrived, but I filed for a restraining order that night. It was approved, but it didn't stop him. Over the next month, I kept seeing shadows near my windows, footprints under the bedroom sill. Once, I found another note. This one wasn't folded. It was taped to my back door. All it said was, "You can't block me out." I broke the lease, packed everything, left town. I don't know where he is now. I don't even know his full name. He'd given me a fake one when we first met. But sometimes, even now, I check the rearview mirror a few times too many, because part of me thinks he's still looking for me. It was late, one of those freezing nights in Northern California when the wind cuts right through your coat and the streets are dead silent. I had just gotten off work from a long shift at the customer service center. All I wanted was a hot cup of tea in my bed. Simple, routine. I pulled into my driveway like I always did. Same street, same house. But the moment I stepped through the door, something felt wrong. I couldn't explain it. The lights were off, the air was still, and everything looked the way I had left it. Except for one small detail. One of the dining chairs was pulled out. Not far, just slightly angled away from the table, like someone had been sitting there, watching, waiting. I froze, just stared at it for a few seconds. Had I left it that way, I couldn't remember. Maybe I bumped it. Maybe I was tired. I tried to convince myself it was nothing. I locked the front door, turned on the lights, walked through the house. Everything else looked normal. No broken windows, no open doors, no reason to panic. Still, the feeling wouldn't go away. That tightness in the chest, that sensation that someone had just left the room a moment before you entered. I changed into my pajamas, made a cup of tea, and sat on the edge of my bed for a while, trying to breathe, trying to feel normal. And then, just as I turned off the bedroom light, I heard it. Footsteps inside the house, slow, heavy, moving across the hardwood floor just below me. I didn't think. I couldn't. My body moved on autopilot. I grabbed my phone, rushed into the closet, and closed the door behind me as quietly as I could. Inside, it was dark, cramped. I crouched low and tried to slow my breathing. My heart was pounding so hard I thought it would give me away. Then I heard it, my bedroom door creaking open. Silence. Then, the sound of drawers being pulled out, items thrown to the floor, glass shattering. The intruder was tearing through my room, searching for something, or someone. I was frozen, completely powerless. I knew I was just feet away from them. I remember staring at the closet door, waiting for it to fly open, but it didn't. Eventually, the noise stopped. Nothing, just silence. I waited 10 minutes, 15, I don't know. When I felt sure the coast was clear, I crept out, barely daring to breathe. And then I made a snap decision. I pulled down the attic ladder and climbed up. It was dusty, cold, full of old boxes. But it felt like the only place I could truly hide. I stayed up there the entire night, curled up in a corner, phone in hand, too scared to call for help. Every sound made me jump. I kept imagining a face appearing at the hatch, but no one came. At sunrise, I finally called the police. By the time they arrived, the intruder was gone. The house was trashed, drawers open, things broken, furniture overturned. But here's the strange part. Nothing valuable was taken, not the laptop, not the TV. The only thing missing, a single kitchen knife. That's it. Then it got even worse. Out behind the house, the officers found signs that someone had been staying there. Used syringes, torn blankets, empty food wrappers. And near one of the windows, cigarette butts, lots of them. That window looked directly into my bedroom. Whoever broke in had been watching me, maybe for days, maybe longer. They knew my habits, when I left, when I came home. They were waiting. They never found him. No prints, no trace. He just disappeared. After that night, I changed everything. New locks, security cameras, motion sensors. I even ran drills, practicing what I'd do if it ever happened again. But even with all of that, sometimes, late at night, when the wind brushes against the windows, I swear I hear those same footsteps, slow, heavy, and every time I wonder, what if he never left? It started like any fresh chapter does, full of hope, excitement, and a little stress. We had just bought a new house, 2 stories, brick exterior, tree-lined street, quiet neighborhood. The kind of place people dream of raising kids in or growing old together. It wasn't perfect, but to us, it felt like a fresh start. The previous owner, an older man in his late 60s, was the one who gave us the tour. He seemed friendly enough at first, polite, even warm, in that vague, distant way older people sometimes are. He smiled, made small talk, told us about the good insulation, the recent roof repairs, the garden that needed love. Everything was going fine until we reached the upstairs hallway. That's when something changed. We were halfway through the tour when he stopped walking. Just stood there, silent. His expression shifted like someone flipping a switch. His smile faded. His eyes lost focus. It was like the warmth drained out of him. He pointed toward the master bedroom and muttered, "That room. It gets real loud sometimes." Then he laughed. But it wasn't a normal laugh. It wasn't nervous or even playful. It was hollow, dry, detached, like the sound of someone who had seen something they'd never been able to forget and had given up trying. I remember exchanging a glance with my partner. We both felt it. That drop in the air. That weird, invisible tension you can't quite name but can't ignore either. We moved past it, laughed it off later. Probably just a weird joke, we said. Old people are strange sometimes. We shouldn't have brushed it off. We moved in that Saturday. Cardboard boxes stacked in the kitchen, clothes in garbage bags, furniture still being delivered. It was chaos, but it was our chaos. The first night we were too tired to unpack, so we just crashed in the master bedroom with takeout and some wine. And that's when it started. Sometime around 3 a.m., we woke up to banging. Not the kind you hear from a noisy neighbor or traffic outside. This came from inside the house. It sounded like someone slamming their fists into the walls downstairs. Not once, repeatedly, like they were trying to break through. Then, the footsteps, slow, deliberate, coming up the stairs. I froze. My partner reached for their phone and quietly locked the bedroom door. We didn't speak, didn't move. We just stood there in the dark, listening as someone, walked slowly down the hall, stopping just outside our door. There was a pause, no knock, no voice, just silence. Then the sound of a boot scuffing against the carpet, and then nothing. We called the police. They arrived quickly, checked the entire property top to bottom. No signs of forced entry, no open windows, no broken locks. Everything was perfectly intact. But one of the officers called us over before he left. He was crouched near our bedroom door. "You see this?" he asked, pulling back a corner of the rug. Underneath, in the beige carpet, were muddy boot prints, not just faint marks. Clear, heavy imprints, starting at the top of the stairs and stopping right in front of our bedroom. But the strangest part, there were no footprints leading away, just one path to us. The officers tried to be reassuring, said maybe it was a stain from the movers, maybe we were just shaken from the move. But I know what I saw, and I knew what I heard. Over the next few nights, the noises continued. Sometimes it was tapping, soft and rhythmic. Sometimes loud knocks in the middle of the night from inside the walls. Footsteps pacing up and down the hallway when we were both in bed. Once, I heard breathing just outside the door. I started sleeping with the light on. We checked the locks every night, sometimes twice. Then, a few days later, we got a phone call. It was the real estate agent. She sounded rattled. The man who sold us the house, the one who laughed about the loud room, he had died just days after we moved in. No warning, no clear cause. He was found in his apartment across town, collapsed in the hallway. His front door had been wide open. I asked if he had any family. She said no, he had lived alone for years. And now, I can't stop thinking about that hallway, that moment on the tour, the way his eyes changed when he looked at the bedroom door. What did he know? What had he heard? Sometimes I wonder if he ever truly left this house, if part of him is still wandering those halls, or worse. What if someone else never left? Someone that doesn't need keys to get in. Someone that was already inside long before any of us arrived.